Good evening and welcome to the Glens Common Council meeting for Tuesday, May 11th, 2021. We'll start the meeting out with the Pledge of Allegiance, and Mr. Clark will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, so because we are on Zoom for public comment, I think, Peter, you got the phone number there, or you have number to call?
I got the number.
Okay, great. So seeing that we are going to wait on some comments, we'll go ahead with committee reports. And we'll start out with Ms. Reed.
Personnel met this evening and is considering the general employment situation at our water and sewer plant, and we will keep you posted.
Great. Mr. Campanella?
No report.
Okay. I will go to Mr. Collins.
The Sustainability Committee has met, and we are entertaining ideas. We have a couple companies that have put in proposals to possibly put solar on our landfill. Basically, we would lease the land to a company so that our risk would be lessened, and they would put the solar in there, and then we get certain credits for the energy that is produced on that land. We haven't made any decisions yet. We're just talking to those companies and exploring our options, and hopefully soon we'll have some information to present to the council for them to consider.
Great, thank you.
Thank
Ms.
you.
Bonner?
Building and codes hasn't met, but I mentioned last time that we had heard a presentation on a software system to manage short-term rentals, and we thought there might be an opportunity for shared services, so we had reached out to the county to see if they would be interested in potentially getting a county account that the municipalities could kind of all share in. And I know that the town of Queensbury happens to also be looking into this at the same time, and I think someone from the county was able to attend the presentation that they saw. So we're going to kind of wait for a little bit to see if we can get some movement on this before we make a decision, but it would be, I think, in everyone's interest if we could collaborate and share the cost of this across the county.
Great, thank you for your work on that. Mr. Enderberry?
I have none.
All right, Mr. Clark?
I do not have a report, but the Special Projects Committee will be meeting after this meeting to talk about taxi cab fares in the city of Glens Falls, and I will have a report at the next meeting.
Great. Well, I want to thank all of the members of the committees. I think you guys have done a good job and a lot of work as you've put into it. So, and we've had a lot of good results from the work that you've done. So with the voice vote, is there anything that anyone would like to pull before we vote on these? Number one is a resolution approving the minutes of the April 27th, 2021 meeting of the Glens Falls Common Council. Two is a resolution approving the April 2021 report of the City Court Parking Violations Bureau. Three is a resolution approving requests to the city street sidewalks on the rights of way as listed on the attached and recommended by the Board of Public Safety. Four is a resolution approving requests to city parks as listed on the attached and recommended by the Recreation Commission.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Is there anything on the roll call vote that you would like to pull for further discussion?
Mayor, I should recuse myself for number 17.
Okay. And also we have, I gave you all another resolution that we will bring up afterwards. I'll have Ms. Reed bring that from the floor. So number 5 is a resolution approving a one-time renewal bid, City of Glens Falls 20-07 for sidewalk and curb replacement for the 2021 season with AJ Catafamo of Hudson Falls at the 2020 bid pricing. 6 is a resolution approving community development annual payments of $2,092. 7 is a resolution authorizing city controller to decrease general fund balance by $1,400,000 and increase general fund expense line A23410-2300 fire department motor vehicle equipment by $1,400,000. 8 is a resolution authorizing the city controller to decrease general fund fund balance by $1,615 and increase general fund expense line A23410-2300 fire department motor vehicle equipment by $1,615. 9 is a resolution authorizing city controller to decrease general fund expense line A11990-9000 contingency by $24,241 and increase general fund expense line A67520-4499 occupancy tax grants by $24,241. 10 is a resolution authorizing city controller to increase general fund revenue line A009999-2665 sale of equipment by $350 and increase general fund expense line A23120-4423 police MV highway maintenance by $350. 11 is a resolution approving an enforcement permit for Work Smart Network LLC 175 Broad Street, number 191 for placement of a sandwich board sign on the sidewalk in front of 237 Glen Street for the business from current date through May 31st, 2022. 12 is a resolution approving an encroachment permit for Barbara Titus Koopman, 3 Chambers Street, to place a dumpster in front of the residence from May 12th to May 31st, 2021. 13 is a resolution approving an encroachment permit renewal for 221 Glen Street Realty LLC, 333 Glen Street, 102, replacement of trash dumpster and alcohol on Latin Place for June 1st, 2021 through May 31st, 2022. 14 is a resolution approving an encroachment permit for Peter Hoffman, owner of tax map number 310.5-2-3, commonly known as 67-73 Warren Street, pursuant to a May 4th, 2021 favorable advisory opinion by the planning board for a curb cut at the front of the property to repave the lot and to change vehicle movement through the lot to one way, which will enter from Warren Street and exit onto J Street. 15 is a resolution approving a mobile food unit license for Thailand Clinker Thai's Taqueria LLC 669 Maggie Hole Road in Delancey, New York, to vend on Coolidge Avenue, which is shut down for Memorial Day block party on Monday, May 31st, 2021, subject to current New York State COVID-19 guidelines. Resolution number 16, approving a mobile food unit license for Michael Magel, Green Mountain Concessions, 125 Hillside Street, Bennington, Vermont, to vend at the Larak Summer Arts Festival on August 14-15, 2021, subject to current New York State COVID guidelines. 17 is a resolution approving an outside dining permit for the bullpen 216 Glen Street for replacement of tables and chairs from June 1st, 2021 to May 31st, 2022, subject to current New York State COVID-19 guidelines. 18 is a resolution approving an outside dining permit for Mohammed Saeed Al-Leaf Cafe, 193 Glen Street, pursuant to May 4th, 2021. Favorable advisory opinion from the planning board to place tables and chairs for outside dining on the sidewalks in front of the cafe, subject to all current New York State COVID-19 guidelines, with permit running from now to May 31st, 2022. 19 is a resolution approving an outside dining permit renewal for Craft on 7 South Street for placement of tables and chairs from June 1st, 2021 to May 31st, 2022, and subject to current New York State COVID-19 guidelines. 20 is a resolution authorizing payment of 5 deferred loans approved by the Project Review Committee created by the Greater Glens Falls Local Development Corporation under the City Small Business Recovery Fund, SBRF, created to help small businesses in the city of Glens Falls prepare for, prevent, and respond to COVID-19 with funding provided by the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development through an allocation of CDBG-CV and CDBG-CV3 funding enacted under the CARES Act and previously adopted by the Common Council. 21 is a resolution amending Greater Glens Falls Transit 2021 operating budget and improving the bike share operation. 22 is a resolution awarding a public works contract to AJ Cadelphino Construction to reconstruct the hydraulic vehicle lift at Greater Glens Falls Transit Facility. And 23 is a resolution approving the warrant.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call vote.
Councilwoman Mark Reed,
Yes.
Councilman Campanell,
Yes.
Councilman Collins,
Yes.
Councilwoman Palmer,
Yes.
Councilman Underberry,
Yes.
Councilman Clark.
Yes.
Okay. Ms. Reed has,
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to add a resolution to our long list of resolutions this evening, if I could from the floor. A resolution awarding CG 2101 RFQ developer to purchase, develop, and manage 3 parcels currently owned by the City of Glens Falls to develop Market Square at South Street to Bonaccio Construction Incorporated. Whereas the City of Glens Falls issued a request for qualifications, an RFQ, to identify a developer for the Market Square at South Street project, an integral component to the city's downtown revitalization initiative, the DRI. And whereas 2 developers responded to the RFQ, Bonaccio Construction Incorporated and MLB Construction Services LLC. And whereas based on the 4 scoring criterion developed by the Mayor's DRI working group, including team composition and organization, team experience, understanding the project risks, minority business enterprise, women business enterprise, disabled service veteran-owned business involvement, it was determined that Bonaccio Construction Inc. earned the highest score with a score of 89 out of a possible 100. And whereas, based on the above stated criteria, the working group recommends to the Common Council that the project be awarded to Bonaccio Construction Incorporated. Now therefore be it resolved that the Glens Falls Common Council does hereby award the Market Square at South Street project to Bonaccio Construction Inc., subject to the terms and conditions identified in the attached.
I'll move it.
Second.
roll call vote.
Councilwoman at Large Reed.
Yes.
Councilman Campbell.
Yes.
Councilman Collins.
Yes.
Councilwoman Palmer.
Yes.
Councilman Underberry.
Yes.
Councilman Clark.
Yes.
So the motion passes, everything passed. So now we will go on to old business. We'll start off with Mr. Collins.
I have none.
Okay, and Mr. Clark.
Just a couple of things. I want to thank the mayor and the council for our stewardship of our city funds, so that we can purchase a brand new fire truck for our fire department. The ladder truck was in desperate need of replacement, and this is a good use of our funds, and I applaud everyone for being good stewards of the city's money and to allow us to have this opportunity to do so without borrowing for this truck. The other thing is the resolution we just passed, Mayor. I always appreciate being involved in the call and listening to the 2 proposals. 2 great companies, and they all had a lot of great ideas, and I'm excited that this project is moving forward, and I'm looking forward to working with Mr. Bonaccio and his team to make sure that what is proposed in the DRI is going to look great on our South Street, to fit into the character of the buildings that will be there, that have to be there, and it's just an exciting project. I'm glad we're getting this moving forward, so thank you.
Mr. Campbell.
I don't have anything.
Ms. Reed.
I would just like to remind the city folk that DPW is on its 2nd and last swing through the city to pick up your brush and unbagged items. So be aware that coming soon is bagged only items, and the schedule is on our website, and please attend, and please do not overstep the grandiose of our DPW workers by ignoring their schedule. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Palmer.
Yes, I'd like to thank the Community Liaison Officer Norton for joining Supervisor Bramer and I at our 3rd Ward Forum. He met some of our constituents, and it was nice to have him join us. I also wanted to say that I've had a lot of positive feedback from constituents on that we're moving forward with the tree inventory. A lot of people are really excited about that, so thank you again for that. And I wanted to echo Jim's comments that I'm excited the DRI is moving forward, and I'm looking forward to being able to share some ideas and really work to customize it for Glens Falls.
Great. Mr. Underberry.
I have none.
All right. How about new business? Mr. Collins.
I have none.
All right, Mr. Clark.
I have done.
And Mr. Campbell.
I don't have any.
Ms. Reed.
I have none.
How about you, Ms. Palmer?
I wanted to mention that there's an idea called Story Walk that the city is collaborating with the library on. It's kind of a recreation activity for families, and basically like a children's book is broken up into individual pages and then put around. You could do it on a trail, but we've decided to start in City Park by the library and go through our business district. And then you can take your kids and you read the book by, following it. So it promotes literacy and exercise, but also our downtown. And I know that the library has been reaching out to some businesses who want to participate by putting it in front of their business. And we were also thinking that perhaps the collaborative, if Robin's listening, probably, might want to could link this somehow to Take a Bite, because they're going to start it in July. So just kind of wanted to put that out there in case anyone else has any ideas.
Okay, great, Mr. Henry.
I have none.
Okay, you have a call, Peter?
He wants to call, yes, I'm gonna put the number up right now.
Okay, is that Robin?
Yes.
Okay. So just a couple of comments. I appreciate Ms. Palmer working on the story walk. She came up with the idea. I think she saw it in another community, and she's taken the lead on that. And we met with the library, and that's a good project. There's a lot of good stuff going on. You mentioned the tree inventory. They came in on Monday afternoon, and they started today. So they're out there. I think.
I saw them out. The cars are out on the streets. Saw the yellow vests out there.
Great.
Doing the work.
Yeah,
Yep.
so that's a good thing. And to echo what Mr. Clark said about the fire truck, my fire truck was 23 years old. It needed about 50,000, and then projected maybe another 60,000 for repair. And the gentleman said because it's 23 years old, it might start rusting out. So that's when the chief came to me and we started talking. And as Jim said, we've been saving up for this to be able to purchase this, and it's not going to hurt. It's going to hurt our fund balance a little bit, but we got a fund balance to be able to do that with. So we've been saving for it. It's a good thing for the fire department, as everybody in the community is very receptive to us having a paid fire department. And for those of you that didn't see our fire department in action on Friday, we had a EMS convention at the hotel, and I was supposed to go and welcome everybody at 8 o'clock. So I got in here at 7 o'clock, and at 7:30 we had a 5-car accident at the Circle. So all the EMS guys are up at the Queensbury Hotel, and Glens Falls is action, and the cops, and we never had accidents at the Circle. I made many comments, and so what do we have when there's an EMS convention? 5-car pileup. So, but our guys responded, they cleaned it up. You would have known in within an hour that there was an accident there. So again, that's DPW working with the fire department and police department. So that worked really good. We also, the DRI Drive initiatives, part of the DRI. We've had 8 interviews for companies, and we are now vetting them a little bit more. We'll be talking with them. We have a dollar figure of a little over $250,000 to maybe split up between these if we feel that they're, after looking at their business plans and vetting them a little more, that will be able to help these people either expand or to bring new business to Glens Falls. So that's a good thing, and that comes out of the DRI. And we also, we approved those 5 new the CARES Act funding loans, or not loans, but the forgivable loans. So now that takes us up to 23 businesses that we've given those to. So we're using the CARES Act money like it's supposed to be, so I'm proud of that. So Robin, did he call?
He's trying to keep going to voicemail, and the first thing he has a number of things here, I'll read them quickly. The recommendation for the Board of Public Safety, number 5, is written wrong and includes the Ridge Street closures. That was not something they agreed to.
Yeah, okay.
Jane, he said, there is a packet concerning Bernacchio's Glen. Can it be sent to Steve at foothillsbusinessdaily.com?
I don't know, but do, I mean, is somebody writing that down? I mean, I don't,
He
but,
called in and asked this question.
It's Foothills Business Daily.
Foothillsbusinessdaily.com.
okay, so Steve Thurston wants a copy of the packet on the Bernacchio approval, and wants it sent to him at, say it again? Foothillsbusiness.com.
We'll have Jeffrey send that to him either tonight or tomorrow morning.
Okay, good.
Thank you.
Okay, so we're good?
Yeah.
All
That's
right.
all you got.
So at this point, I would like to move into executive session to discuss the contract.
Okay.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, we're in
Give me one
executive
second, give
session.
me 1 second. I gotta figure out how to do this.
I look for a motion to come out of executive session.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. We have no business conducted in the executive session, so I'll look for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
All right, I just want to thank everyone for coming to the Special Projects Committee. We are a group of three, made up of 3 council members. And on the agenda tonight is to start the discussion regarding taxi fares in the city of Glens Falls. We've had Mr. Cohen, who could not be here this evening, but would like to attend the next one, request the city to look at raising and increasing the fares for the taxis. And so we are undertaking that effort. We started that a little bit before before COVID hit. We had a meeting with him, and then COVID hit and everything sort of got postponed. So now we're back at it. We're actually meeting in person, which is a good thing. And so I just wanted to, one of the things that, you know, I recognize is that, you know, we have 3 companies in the city of Glens, taxi cab companies in the city of Glens Falls. And obviously they're all struggling with staffing, struggling with their business models and things like that. But we also have a population in need that this service also provides. So we really need to balance, you know, what we do as far as increasing fares and other potential revenue sources, while also trying to maintain the goal of having reasonable fares for people that this is their only means of transportation out, other than public transportation, which might not necessarily meet their needs. They're also, the companies are also dealing with rideshare, big rideshare companies, if you want to call them that. So there's a lot of things at play here. So I want to be thoughtful in the dialogue and discussion in hopes that we can come up with something that meets the needs of not only the taxi cab businesses in the city, but also the needs of the residents and people that use the service as well. So that's the goal. So I just have a couple questions for Karen and Bob. can we pull out of the city code the fare structure? Like make it sort of like what we did with building codes? Can we pull that out and, make that a separate thing so we don't have to like go
Sure.
through,
The common council can do anything they would like to do. Yes.
do you think that has been, because I was looking, it's like the last time we raised it was, what, back in 2014, was it? We raised them? And that's the rate that's in the fare sheet.
Yes.
So, I mean, and I can't remember the time before that, how long ago it was. I mean, do you think, and I don't know, do you think it's a hindrance that the fare structure is actually in this code to look at it?
No,
More
because
regularly?
the way the city code is written now for taxis, the whole zonal structure, zone 1, 2, and 3, has to be delineated so that the cab companies know what they can charge somebody within one zone, within another zone or another.
So, so here's another question is, what if we would it be beneficial to people if we did away with the zones? I don't know. I can tell you this, Jim, that I think the cab ordinance has been in the city since 1922. In 1954, from my research, it looked as though they started these zones. There were 2 zones and added another. I'm sure that at that point in time, there was a logical purpose for having 3 zones. Whether that exists anymore, I doubt it. I really do. I don't
know.
disagree with you.
You know,
A lot of things in our
I mean, if the common council wanted to say, let's have 1 zone with 1 fare, the council can do anything that it likes. The problem is then, what is, as you said, how do you balance giving the taxi companies a logical increase while understanding that the ridership for the cab companies is a little different than you have with Lyft and Uber.
So, and that's the question is, then how do you balance, like, when I was looking over this, and the fare structure is supposed to be posted inside the vehicle and the map, and I'm looking at that, and I'll be upfront and honest with everybody, I have never taken a taxi cab in the city of West Boston. I mean,
You never hung out on South Street.
no, I mean, I've either walked, rode my bike, or
I have.
rode, and I look for, and I know Bill has, I don't know if Jim has, and I look for people with that experience, and I don't know if they have, I know there's like a meter, I don't know if the taxi cabs have meter.
They don't have meters anymore. They
No.
call in dispatch, they say where they're going, and dispatch tells them how much the fare is.
That's right.
Okay, because I just look at this and this is like confusing to me.
Yeah. And I will tell you this, to add to the confusion, since COVID, our office, the mayor's office, has gotten calls from citizens complaining about the rates that we're being charged.
Too much?
Too much, and I will give you 2, and I won't mention names, I won't mention cab company names, but this gives you an idea. At the same time that we want rate increases, I would like to report a violation, violating the city of Glens Falls zone rates. I was on Warren Street, asked for a cab to 9th Street. Those destinations are within the city limits. My fare was going to be $15. I have always been charged $4.25. It is a gross violation of the policy. I hope that too many elderly weren't overcharged. The difference in price is $10.75. You talk about taking advantage during COVID of people that need cabs. That's a pretty good example. Here's another one. I'm not trying to bore you, but just to give you some context.
Please do.
I was not sure who to contact about this, as a reading of your regulations regarding taxi services does not seem to highlight any regulatory body or group responsible for enforcing these regulations. It's wrong, but
There is, right.
The police,
The
right?
code officer and the police.
yes.
And then the deputy city prosecutes the code violation.
Yes.
Certain taxi is routinely overcharging people for transportation within the zones. A ride from Maple Street in downtown Glens Falls to Staple Street would cost between $3.75 and $4.25 from almost any cab company. This company is attempting to charge $15 for this service. Both addresses are within the defined zones set out on the Glens Falls City website. Things like that are very irritating when the city is trying to be above board and be fair to everybody, to know that this has been going on through COVID and for all we know, could be continuing.
And the other thing too, it's not in the code. Cab picks somebody up, they stop along the way, they're still in the zone, doesn't matter what zone they're in, they stop, they get charged extra when they stop. And that's not in the code, so
It's not addressed either way in the code, you mean?
right.
So if they
Not
stop
in there,
and
not
get
in there,
groceries
right.
or whatever,
Exactly.
yeah.
But most of the complaints that I've heard are from the senior citizens.
Right,
You know, they say that they're being gouged, and, you know, they need taxis, you know, and they're not gonna sit there and argue about you know, they just pay because they gotta get where they wanna go. And they may or may not ride the buses, so that's the people that have complained to me. Also, some of the cabs, they complain about the conditions of the cabs. And I've seen some of those cabs, and I wouldn't wanna ride in those cabs.
Well, and that's a police issue, that's an enforcement issue. Because I prosecuted as deputy city attorney years ago, a lot of taxi violations having to do with dents and repairs and, yeah.
So it's in the
That's-
code that you need to have your vehicle
Yeah,
to a certain
Yeah.
standard.
the taxi code says exactly how maintenance and repair.
I actually had somebody tell me that they actually they were picked up by a cab company. They were going to their destination and the cab broke down. They had to call a tow truck.
So, I mean, I can see, so, I mean, obviously, I mean, we're 3.8 square miles. I mean, so to get to one end of town to the other, if you charge a rate per whatever, it's not
Right, if
gonna
you're
be-
going from one zone to another, the rate escalates
Yeah.
as you go through those zones.
So, and if you got rid of the zones and you charged,
City within city,
yeah,
right?
it might,
City limits.
you know,
Once they're outside of the city limits, whether they're going to Queensbury, South Glens Falls, whatever
we
direction,
have,
they
no,
can charge whatever they want.
we have no option.
We have no, or something.
And what is, if any, so I kind of see this as being a very similar thing to a bed and breakfast and an Airbnb or the others. I mean, we are looking at regulating single night stays, right? For
Yes,
non-hotels.
Short-term rentals.
And can we regulate or look to regulate the same with Lyft or Uber
No.
rides?
No, they're
New York State
regulated by
DMV.
New York State. And
So they
in order
can
to
charge.
operate a Lyft or Uber company, they paid the state, was it $100,000
Mhm.
for the license to be able to operate within New York State, and they are all regulated by the state. We have no say in that.
So all these taxi companies are at a disadvantage.
They are, because they were there before Uber and Lyft, and Uber and Lyft can afford to get, you know, increased fees, but it's different riderships too.
Correct.
We got a letter from, and I would like to read this if I could, Bob Landry, no longer the executive director of the Housing Authority, but in November of 2019, right before COVID, he chimed in on this, and I think it's pertinent. It says, "Thank you for the time you allowed me, dear Mayor Hall, thank you for the time you allowed me to discuss the request for higher taxi fares in the city. This issue has major impacts on the over 600 low-income residents and families that we serve in the city of Glens Falls. Between Stitchman, Cronin, and LaRose, along the hundreds of individuals and families we serve through the Housing Choice Voucher Rental Assistance Program, public transportation, including taxi service, is paramount to the daily existence of our client base. The public bus line provides a good service, however, their routes and time schedules do not allow for transportation needs that are time sensitive. Couple this with the low income which these individuals and families live within, taxis is the most affordable option for their daily transportation needs. In discussing the possibility of utilizing Uber for this base of residents, we find that Uber is unaffordable. It is only available to those who have cell phones, a convenience not often available to our clients, especially our seniors. We find also that Medcab tokens are widely used by our resident base with the local taxi companies. Mayor, I believe that a change in the rate structure of taxi service within the city would adversely affect as many as 600 of our city residents who depend on this service to conduct their daily lives. I would strongly urge you to consider all the facts I've listed in this correspondence as you address this request. So, you know, that's a pretty big number, and it could be beyond that.
And I get that, and I appreciate that. And again, I mean, if there is no taxi cab business, they've got no choice.
Correct.
So we gotta figure out, I mean,
So
there's gotta be a balance.
Have
here
the fares
somewhere.
not increased since 2015?
Right, 2014.
14,
And what were they?
Because this
or
says
2015.
15, some of them say
Okay.
$3 from October
Yeah,
1st
it
to
was
December.
25 cents per quarter.
It was
dragged out for a year.
25%, yeah, and it looks like it stopped September of 2015.
Yep.
What's the rate then?
Well,
It-
the zone one is like, it went
The
from
max rate is-
$3 to
425.
$3.75. Zone 2, $3.25 to $4. Zone 3, $3.50 to $4.25.
So the most that anybody can charge somebody right now legally is $4.25?
Within the city.
So, I mean, I wonder what they, if.
And they can charge for each additional passenger.
I would think it wouldn't be, or excuse me, it would be worthwhile to ask the three cab companies, what figure do you feel is fair?
Yeah. And
Just to see what
Yeah,
they're saying.
sure, you can start there.
Where and what would you suggest about, I mean, this is confusing as all.
That's only confusing because at the time, the Common Council wanted to put an increase in place, but it didn't want to do a shock, you know, immediately.
Gotcha.
So as to hurt those such as the seniors and the low-income people that needed to ride.
2014, was that the
I'm sorry.
It's a post-start
Is that
cost
cake?
on Sunday, $3.25.
No,
Yeah.
$5.
Now,
So seniors get a discount when they ride the buses.
Yes,
Is it possible that we could set up some kind of a,
the council can do anything.
We
that-
yeah,
can,
so,
so.
well, I don't know
What's
how
that?
we
Say that
regulate
again,
that,
Jim?
that's the thing, I don't
Say
know.
that again, Jim, ask the question again, I didn't hear you.
That seniors get a discount when they ride the buses, so we could could we set up some kind of a structure for seniors? Or maybe low income, so they would get a discounted rate, but I don't know how we would, you know, service that, I don't know.
Could we get any money from HUD or anybody to help pay if there's an additional stipend or something? Because $5 is, I mean, it's $4.25 right now.
Yeah.
And as much as, well, first of all, let's be fair. The people that can't afford the $4.25,
Right.
people we're talking about can't afford that. And yet $4.25 is what it was, geez, what?
6 years ago.
Yeah, well, and I think I got charged $4 or $5 to get to work 28 years ago. So they were probably charging me more than the rate was, but, you know, to go from one end of Glens Falls to the
I don't
other,
have a map of the zones.
about an hour's worth of work, I remember.
Is that labeled 1, 2, and 3? Sorry.
No, I,
My brightest shining
so,
moment.
so that raises the other question about advertising on the taxi cabs, generating additional types of revenue to offset, you know, if they can't get it in the fare, can we do,
So there's a code that says they can't advertise on the side of their,
they can't advertise?
okay.
But the buses do, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
that because that's a government entity, pseudo-government entity,
Okay.
so
There
we
we
would
go.
have
All right.
to,
Could see if that even is interests them. I mean, I can't believe it would be a big source of income for them.
well, I mean, you know, Ruth, I was talking to Ruth Barber, she had like 10 cabs or 7 cabs out, but back before COVID, she had many more cabs out. So if you had, you know, 15 cabs out, you know, you're all over the place, not just in the city, but
Well, our point is that I don't think any businesses would pay to put their advertising on those cars. I wouldn't mind,
Well, they-
I'm not being rude, I'm not even talking about a specific cab
Sure.
company.
Well, the
It's-
code does allow for some advertising if it's with the consent of the Board of Public Safety.
where did you see that?
Under 198-23 advertising, and it says, no advertising material, blah, 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 without the prior consent of the Board of Public Safety. Such consent shall be conditional only and shall be given only after completion of information has been provided to the Board of Public Safety as to the type of advertising matter to be displayed in the manner in which it is to be displayed. So I think there is an exception, I just don't know that it's ever been.
You-
Right, well, again, I don't think, so one thing for our future meetings is to get the owners to come in and
Yes.
to ask them what they think would be fair.
Right.
Which we can all agree that even if they ask for $1 more, is a burden on the poor and the elderly that we know need this service. And so, we got something to consider there.
Well, are you gonna ask them what they want to see as a fair increase, is
Yeah,
that?
at least just ask them what that would be, right?
Right.
There's a
And are
start.
they interested in allowing advertising on certain spots on the
Yes.
vehicle?
Here's the second thing, would that help them to generate income? Or would it be, as I might suspect, that it wouldn't be worth the change in the code? But it
It's
might be.
allowed, they
So
just have to get
yep.
approval from the Board of Public
Right,
Safety. I'm
and
guessing
so-
they don't want flashing lights on the top or,
A third subject matter for us to consider is, can we clear up the zone? Can we make City of Glens Falls one zone? And then,
well,
I mean, I think
have
it
you
needs
looked
to
at
be
the
done.
map, how they do it?
It's crazy. I mean, if you're paying attention to it, you know, zone 1 is mainly the central business
Central
district.
business
And
district.
then it expands to zone 2 a little bit out from that, and zone 3 is everything else. Who's keeping you're riding a cab, who's keeping track? Oh, I just went through zone 1 to 2.
Well, that's it, so I mean,
So
you know,
again,
if
if
you
you
charge,
could just simplify it,
Right.
this is the most you can pay.
I mean, if you charge a flat rate, if you're saying, all right, we're gonna go to $4.75, whether you go
A
2
mile.
blocks
Right.
Yep,
or
miles.
across from east end to west end.
right. So if you could, if we could at least clean that up, that would help.
Sure.
And then secondly, how are we going to move forward with enforcement and violations? Because if we go and we change this to whatever it is we change, we need to encourage and raise awareness with the seniors and the people riding that this is a number they can call, because we're gonna need to, and if we catch a cab company breaking the law, then we're gonna revoke their permit. And so it won't be, one cab company's gonna get real busy in a short period of time if everybody doesn't follow it. We may have people, if we start to enforce this, back out of being in the city in the first place, because we're, for the first time. And to be fair, I mean, they do have a legitimate gripe when my wife can pick somebody up and charge them $15 tomorrow,
Yep.
and they will get people. There's not a shortage of people
Right.
paying $15. And their fees go up and down depending how busy they are.
Yeah,
So
based on.
they're gonna charge $40 on New Year's
Right.
Eve.
Yeah.
But it's
and
not
then-
the city's fault nor responsibility because Uber and Lyft came along years after a cab
No.
company did.
No?
You know, and I'm sorry, cab companies, but it's apples and oranges.
Yeah.
when you
I know,
compare.
but we also have to,
Well, look, we might be putting cab companies out of business. It's it. And it may happen.
But
The
then
fact
lose-
is we need
lose
to
a
enforce this.
We lose a vital transportation component to over 600
Yeah,
plus people.
Right.
That's right.
And on the other hand, if 600 people can't ride, that doesn't help the cab companies out
That's
either,
right.
so.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying, it's like, there's gotta be a balance, and, but again, also, at some time, you know, enough's gonna be enough, we aren't gonna be, some councils, they're gonna be coming back, and some council's gonna say, we just can't do that
Right.
anymore.
Well, it is shocking, it's funny, when the city code in 1922, they set a standard. They said, if you're gonna open this business, and we're gonna regulate the amount you can charge because of the needy that live in the community. And that whole industry's changed, right? And across the country, across the world. And it's only growing. It's not going away. And so, but the cab companies might need to. I mean, it would be interesting to find out if there was money through the Department of Transportation, if we could get $4,000 a year that we could use to supplement to a cab company that is willing to help.
That's why
Poor-
we're
Yeah.
on
I
transportation.
mean, the cost of operating a cab company where they're paying $60 a vehicle to the city versus buying into the state and paying for an Uber license or whatever is a far cry
Well, it's funny
cheaper.
because, well, the people that are driving Uber aren't paying that. The company's
No, the
paying
company,
that to begin with
Uber,
across the
right,
state.
right.
So that's not,
Right.
it's neither here nor there.
Most of the violations that I recall prosecuting had to do with the drivers not being licensed, the dents in the vehicles, not having the proper lettering.
Yeah.
Part of the issue Vance brought up was the fact that he can't, I mean, staffing is an issue because of obviously,
If you go drive Uber, you're gonna go do it,
yeah,
just like the restaurants and DoorDash.
I think everyone's having trouble with staffing.
well, I think
Great
this is,
Escape,
I mean,
restaurants, I mean,
Vance said this before we had COVID. so-
Yeah, and I'm sure it's legitimate, right? I mean, if you, I'm sure they are losing people left and right. It's not a high-tech job, that's for sure.
All right,
And there may be nothing we can do other than try to mitigate what we can. Say, maybe you could get to $5 or $6 a ride and make it, and clear up the zones and do it, right?
so it would go
if
from,
you-
the highest right now is $4.25,
Yeah.
425, yeah.
$4.25.
But if you did away with the zones, it doesn't, so, would, yeah, if you did away with the zones,
Advantage or disadvantage.
yeah, I mean, the cab companies would be.
Driving from one end of the city to the
Yeah.
other at that same rate.
Yeah,
And put it this way, it's, you're paying, if you're a low-income employee, you're gonna be paying, if you're going from one part of Glens Falls to the other, you're gonna pay a half hour's wage to get to work and a half hour to get back.
But also,
Because you're gonna be at $14 an hour
right.
here soon.
But also, a lot of the cab companies are not just going within Glens Falls. They could be going to Hudson Falls or somewhere else.
Yeah.
And
So
that's
how does
where-
that work?
That's
Charge
where the
whatever they
meter
want.
just starts running.
That's
so how does that work? So if I'm in Glens Falls and I wanna go to Hudson Falls, do I get charged the 425 to get out of
Yes.
Glens Falls?
Once
and
you're
then-
out of city limits, then whatever the going rate is,
Yeah.
because
They're
they're
just gonna give you a rate.
we are the only municipality that regulates cabs in the area.
Yeah, it's cities, that's, you know, I mean, I pulled like Saratoga Springs, Gloversville, you know, they have Plattsburgh, Plattsburgh has
Right.
zones.
What's Saratoga's rate?
And there usually was a reason for that. Historically, a bus stops downtown, somebody needs a cab ride from the
Yeah,
bus
from the
stop
bus
to
stop
a
home.
hotel or something else.
Well, the seniors, you know, they like to use the cabs to go shopping,
Yeah.
grocery shopping.
Yeah.
Well, let's say they go to a Price Chopper up on Glen, that's out of the city limits.
Right.
They pay a pretty hefty fee to get there.
Well, they should
Some
shop
go to
at-
the aviation mall,
They
same
should
deal
shop at
there.
Hannaford.
Big jump,
There you
right?
go.
A big jump.
Well, I don't think there's anything that we should do about, I mean, I don't think there could be, other than trying to find some way to pay for transportation for seniors in addition or something.
Right.
Because I don't think there's any,
Well, we do with the bus, don't the seniors get a break?
Yes, they do, but that's subsidized by the federal,
By
state,
the government.
and
Because-
municipalities, so,
Right.
you know, it's easier to have the rules.
So I wonder if we could talk to them about a rate structure, like during the day, it's one rate, and at night, when it's, might be a different clientele, a little higher rate.
oh, there you go.
Yeah.
You know, because, again, the clientele might be a little different than during the daytime.
No, that's, I mean, it's
Yeah.
reasonable, right?
Mhm.
Where you could call the daytime rate essential for seniors and financially dependent people, but it's hard to say that Friday night at 11 o'clock, that
Right.
that's,
That's
you
an
know,
excellent
and,
point.
you know, and so you could say, you know, I mean, I think that's the best idea that I've heard yet, Jim. Look, you know, keep the rate at $5 for Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. and let it be more on the evenings and weekends.
Yeah, I mean, because now you're hitting your workforce there, right? In the, you know, the
Yeah.
people that might need to get to work
Right.
via taxi cab, and then,
It's hard to say that you're protecting seniors at 2 in the morning on a Saturday night.
Right.
or 11 o'clock, or whatever.
Right.
you know,
So
Right.
you're thinking do away with the zones, but have a different rate structure per time of day.
Yep,
That seems reasonable.
Yeah.
allows them to make money when they could and actually compete and still be less than an Uber or a Lyft, but be able to get their money's worth out of people that, you know, are coming out of a bar and just don't want to
Right.
drive home. I mean,
Right.
that's a service too, but
Yep.
one in which, I mean, $5 is, you can't get a Co-Star on Sunday for $4.25.
I don't think so, I think it's $5.
I do too.
I ended mine.
And they have the ones like I go
And then
to
on Wednesday,
Stewart's.
they have a special.
I know,
set.
and certainly get me every time. $3.75 for Inside Living magazine, and it's like, really? All of a sudden, my coffee and my paper tripled the price, and I rung it up before I realized what they did, and so you just pay it.
All right,
So,
well, now that I've got Ruth Barber's email address, I will send her.
and I'm sure that there's probably,
Which
in
one
some
is she?
ways, to be fair,
She's
Tri-County.
Tri-County.
Yes.
Yeah.
to be fair, we should have them come in. But we also are recognizing that we probably cannot give them comparative rates. And that is a burden that they, if they want to do business in our city, are going to have to live with. That we understand, I mean, we need to accept the fact that these rate limitations may indeed stop some of them from working in Glens Falls.
But-
And if so, we'll have another problem that we'll have to deal with. But you can't, right? Because if I was them, I'd say, well, fares let me charge whatever the going rate is, $15 a thing. And if you do that, you've then cut out all the people in need in this city.
Yeah, so Bob, what is the advantage of a taxi cab company locating in the city of Glens Falls? Is there advantage?
Well, the
Outside
advantage
of-
is you get to do business in Glens
Mm.
Falls. The way the code is written, you cannot do business as a cab company in Glens Falls without having a dispatch during the times that you're operating a business.
Really?
So,
Within the city.
right, so the cab companies had better have headquarters in Glens Falls
Yes.
and not in Queensbury, not in Hudson Falls or somewhere else. We've gotten into those little areas with,
I've
you
seen
know, a
other
cell
cab
phone or
companies.
whatever.
Well, they can, if you can get a cab, like if you're in Queensbury and you get a cab, you can be dropped off in the city of Glens
Right.
Falls, but you cannot initiate a fare in the city of Glens Falls without being a licensed taxi cab by the city.
And how do you enforce something like that? I
You
mean,
do the best that you can, the police department does or whatever. However, if you do away with that, then
Yeah.
why have any regulations?
Well,
and
that's
say-
it, I didn't know,
Right.
and Bob, I didn't know the benefit
Yeah,
of,
yeah.
you know, what, if I was XYZ cab company.
And
why
from
would I
that,
wanna do
we derive the
$60
$60
per
per
cab.
cab for licensing,
And
$25 for the
per-
permit
driver.
Would it, I mean, all right, so let's look at the expense side, all right, would it make, I mean, how much money are we making on
Cabs?
On cabs?
I would have to.
I mean, I mean, if you could like, all right, try to raise the expenses, or raise the rates, lower the expenses a little bit, give them an opportunity to generate advertising revenue. I mean, we've hit them in 3 different areas. We've lowered some expense, granted, it's not a huge expense, and maybe we make that up in our fines section, if they are, you know what I'm saying? I mean,
I understand.
right, or if we don't whack them on the front end, but if they don't uphold to the law,
Yeah, I think that's definitely.
I mean,
piece of it.
right,
If you
I
look
don't know.
if you look at the permits, for example, Glens Falls compared to Saratoga, there's no comparison, or Albany. You know, to get a permit to drive a cab, it's, you know.
Yeah, we're not
$25,
making money off
No,
of
no,
this,
we're not.
so if we hit it in 3 different areas, a little rate
Are we
increase,
allowing them, helping them stay alive a little longer?
saying, hey, you can advertise, but this is how you gotta do it, and lowering the expenses a little bit. Again, we're not gonna make,
Right.
we're not making a killing off the cab companies.
Right.
But if we wanted to try to recoup some of that revenue, we increase the fines if they don't adhere to.
Would be great to know too, if there was transportation money out there to help support people that, low income and senior citizens.
Yes.
And for medical transportation there is.
Right.
And that's why you see.
And the cabs can charge different fares, right, for medical transports?
Yeah.
The
And
Medicare.
I think wasn't one of Vance's issues, like some of these not-for-profits giving free rides and stuff like that, and why aren't we doing something with them, because aren't they considered?
Well, then you have to look at the definitions that we have in the taxi code, you know.
they're losing money for.
When the, you know, certain place has.
Yeah.
I agree with Bill on the advertising. I don't think that's going to be much of an enticement.
No, but it's an offer, and
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
there, and they
Yeah.
should take advantage of it.
Sure.
And I think we need to be aware that these regulations may push their business out, which is not what we want.
Right.
But it may happen. We need to live with that burden. It's in our code to try to provide a service for senior citizens and low-income people in an industry that's changed around them. They may not, in 10 years, there may need to be no cab companies left in Glens Falls. But we can't really, the only way to address that is take these regulations out, let them charge $15 an hour and compete with Uber.
Right.
And if you do that, then the people that need the service aren't doing it anyway, right?
Right.
They're gonna, you'll find a cab, or you'll find a bus then, right? You'll find a phone then.
Well, the problem is the bus only takes you from point A to point B when you really need to go to point C.
So it would be
That's-
cool if we could find some money, and I don't know that it's there, and it may not be. Maybe it's only for medical transport. But if there was some money that we could get a pool that we could start to help supplement, we'll give you $5,000 a year in addition to what you're.
Well, I know some not-for-profits have monies to give people for taxi rides and things like that.
Right.
I know.
So if that's the case, so we could get some of that
Yeah,
money.
the
then-
action gives them
Community,
that.
family services, I
Yeah.
think does.
But I mean, if a not-for-profit gives someone a ride, it doesn't meet the definition of taxi cab under our code.
Right.
It'd be like me saying to someone, oh, you need a ride, I'll give you a ride. I'm not a taxi
Yeah.
cab, I'm just offering somebody a ride.
Yeah, and there are
It's part
ride
of the
services.
service of a not-for-profit.
One of the most busiest busiest services of the Conference Center is their
Well,
free
yeah.
ride program for
That was,
seniors.
that
They're
was,
packed all the
I
time.
think that was the one he had.
Well, the veterans do it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
good.
Warren
So-
County does it.
So it'd be great to see if there's some, it's worth looking into, right? Because if there was, then it would be, you could say to a company, you can only charge $5, but at the end of the year, we'd like you to document the seniors or whatever that you do, and we'll give you a stipend. Because then maybe they could stay in business a little longer. It's worth looking at. probably doesn't exist, but
No, because then you're saying, you know, this free market business and things like that. It would be a different story when you're giving it to a government entity. Now you're talking about, although we're giving monies to, never mind.
when we're regulating a private industry,
I know,
so why not
right.
support the private industry if we can? Because they're telling us that they're going to go out of business because of their competition, and it's not that we don't see that competition, but there's not just much we can do about it.
Right. It's
We
a
need
fine
to, we
line.
need to talk to
It
the
is.
owners, we really need to see what
Oh, yeah, yeah.
get feedback from them and
Yeah.
see exactly what they're looking up
It is,
against.
it's-
They'll have more of an insight in
So
what
I will,
the problems they have.
I'm going to invite them to the next meeting
Yes,
in person
yes.
to be here. So,
Yeah.
do you want to do it before the council meeting on Tuesday or after the council meeting on Tuesday?
Up to you guys. I'm available whenever.
Do you want me to be at it? Is that what you're asking?
Well, I'm just,
I don't mind, I just,
I think,
yeah, I just like.
May
having-
25th?
It'd be either before or after our next, I was thinking of doing it before the
I
council.
would
or
prefer
after.
to be before,
Okay, that's fine with me.
as
I-
opposed to being out at 9 o'clock on a Tuesday night.
Come on.
We could buy drinks, but.
maybe we could catch a cab home.
Oh, very
It's
good.
gonna be more expensive.
All right, so how does 6 o'clock?
6 o'clock is
I can
fine.
afford your attorney fees, but not the cab ride.
All right, 6 p.m. before the council meeting, next council meeting.
All right.
And I'll invite Jenny and Tom Davies from Carol's Cab Company, Vance from Queensberry. I'm gonna just ask for one person, just so we can keep the
Yeah,
spread.
either that or a curfew time limit.
Yeah. And Ruth.
Public
And
notice will be given out.
Yes.
And Ruth, and we'll
I
go
think the
from
one
there.
good solution that we have that they might be most relieved about might be that late night.
The rate
Yeah.
And
structure.
that's just right there, I mean, that's.
I'm like, I brought that up to Ruth, and she thought that might be helpful. I think it's like, how can we differentiate between users? What would be
Right.
a way?
That would be, well,
I mean, it's hard, I mean,
Doesn't
not
mean
to say
that
that the
nobody
seniors
uses it.
out.
Our
Yeah,
biggest,
yeah,
our
yeah.
biggest
Oh, I like
permitting
it.
day for cab licenses is December 31st. Everybody
driving.
wants to drive that evening for New Year's, so there you go, you're right.
Alrighty. I appreciate everyone's time.
Thank you.
Thank you for your
Thank you, Karen.
input, and your insight, Karen.
You're welcome.
Bob, thank you as
Thank
well
you,
for
Bob.
your insight and input. I appreciate it. And,
we don't need a motion, do we?
no, we're done.
We're done, Peter, thank